can any of you respond and say you're convinced he's a franchise quarterback, Gabriel? Can you say that? I don't think, in fairness, you can. And I, for one, want to see Sanders before this season is over to know whether we got to make a deal or trade up to get the best possible quarterback that's going to be available in the draft next year. So, to answer your question, I think we're getting close with Gabriel to get Sanders in there, and let's see what we got with the kid from Colorado.
What if I told you the Browns quarterback room just turned into a reality show, and Bruce Drennan's the host losing his mind on live TV? Yeah, he's done pretending Dillon Gabriel is the guy, and now he's calling for Shedeur Sanders like he's the football messiah Cleveland didn't know it needed. Grab your popcorn because Bruce just went full volcanic. And trust me, this meltdown might actually make sense.
Do you think that can help inject some life into the team as well now that has passed and this is the team going forward and they can all focus?
Yeah, I understand the question, Daryl. I don't know how much guys spend time thinking about those type of things. I know it's speculative, and I know there's plenty of news outlets that cover those type of things, and that's what you have to do, but our guys don't spend much time on that. We kind of keep our focus where it is, and so that's the sense I've gotten from the guys.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. The airwaves in Cleveland haven't been this spicy since the last time Bruce Drennan lost his temper on live TV. So basically, last week. But this time, oh no, this isn't just another fire the coach rant or bench the quarterback tantrum.
If you look statistically at Sanders' career with his dad at Colorado, a vast majority of the majority of his yardage was picked up on safe screen passes, plus getting the ball into Hunter's hands. You get the ball into this guy's hands and he can take it all the way. So that's a tough one, but I would say Sanders.
Which quarter?
This is full nuclear. Bruce isn't mad. He's spiritually offended. The man's veins were popping out like he just found out his fantasy team started a kicker instead of a quarterback. He's done pretending Dillon Gabriel is the guy. Nope.
Shouldn't Shedeur start over Dillon Gabriel? Shouldn't he get the start first?
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Well, here's my thinking. They want to see what Shedeur Sanders is. He's a throw-in. He's an asset. Dillon Gabriel's going to be here as their backup quarterback in your mind for the next 4 or 5 years. Yeah. No rush in getting him in there. Let's see what Sanders can do.
I still think you got to think of the locker room and throwing Shedeur in there from number 3.
You don't think Shedeur is well received in the locker room?
I'm not sure that teammates think he can win.
According to Bruce, it's officially Shedeur Sanders' time. And the way he said it, you'd think the kid was about to descend from the heavens wearing a gold helmet and a cape made of highlight reels.
So if you're looking at the way Dillon Gabriel, the way that offense was constructed, you got the same results, because what you want in your defense is for you to make turnovers. They forced 2 turnovers against the Minnesota Vikings. And Dillon Gabriel still couldn't get it done because he's no threat to force the ball down the field. Even the last play of the game, before Kevin O'Connell called the timeout, the Hail Mary interception, he couldn't even get it to the end zone. That thing fell 5 yards short of the end zone, and it got picked off by Isaiah Rodgers, but it didn't count because Kevin O'Connell called the timeout.
Let's be honest. Cleveland's quarterback situation has been cursed since 1999. The team could find a way to ruin Tom Brady in his prime. It's like a haunted rotation. Every time a new QB walks in, their talent mysteriously vanishes, their confidence evaporates, and suddenly they start throwing passes like they're aiming for the mascot. Dillon Gabriel just happens to be the latest soul trapped in the Browns' Bermuda Triangle of mediocrity. And Bruce Drennan? He's done pretending it's just bad luck. He's had enough of the give him time sermons, enough of the system takes patience nonsense. Now Bruce wants a spark. He wants chaos. He wants Shedeur Sanders, the Colorado kid with swagger levels that could power downtown Cleveland. According to Bruce, Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He's an alarm clock for a team that's been asleep for decades. The Browns have been hitting snooze since the Clinton administration. And now, Drennan's saying it's time for the wake-up call. Picture it. Bruce in his studio, voice cracking like an old vinyl, pounding the desk like he's summoning the football gods. veins glowing Browns orange. Every syllable's a punch. Dillon Gabriel's name gets tossed around like a traffic cone on I-90. The man doesn't even pause to breathe. He's got that "I've been waiting for this rant all week" energy.
The narrative that's now leaking out of Cleveland, it's a question. And the question is, does Shedeur want to play? Is he going out of his way to not be available to play? Now, he did practice on Wednesday. He still has some ailing back issue. To be fair, I'm a doctor. I saw him go to Colorado during the bye week and surprise Dion at Colorado, and he looked fantastic. The Browns now want people to think that Shedeur is inventing a back.
Because let's face it, Dillon Gabriel looks like he's out there trying to solve a Rubik's Cube instead of reading defenses. He drops back, squints downfield, hesitates, and boom, sack. The Browns fans at home don't even scream anymore. They just stare blankly, like people who've accepted that they'll never be truly happy. And then there's Shedeur, sitting on the bench with sunglasses on like a mixtape cover waiting to happen. Bruce sees that and loses his mind. He starts painting Shedeur as the cure for Cleveland's eternal hangover. The guy hasn't thrown a pass for the Browns yet, but according to Drennan, he's already halfway to the Hall of Fame. Bruce's rant has levels to it. First, he attacks the coaching staff for babying Gabriel. He says the Browns are treating him like a fragile science experiment. Handle with care, don't apply pressure, let him grow. Meanwhile, Cleveland's losing to teams that couldn't beat a decent high school squad. Then he shifts gears, straight into Shedeur mode. And it's like someone flipped a switch in his brain. Suddenly he's describing Sanders like he's part quarterback, part motivational speaker, part lightning storm. You'd think Shedeur had just performed miracles in Boulder. According to Bruce, he's got the arm, the poise, the vision, and the audacity to make Cleveland believe again. That's rich. Cleveland fans have believed in about 27 quarterbacks over the last 20 years. At this point, they'd believe in a golden retriever if it could throw for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. But
Dillon Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. It's time for Shedeur to be in the lineup. Otherwise, you're going to see Miles slamming that helmet.
Has to play sometime during the year. I'm not sure if it's right now, but you got to see him 3 or 4 games.
Within the next 3 weeks or so, we should see Shedeur Sanders.
But Bruce, he's serious. He's pacing, he's sweating, and he's convinced this is it. This is the turning point. He's out here treating Shedeur Sanders like Neo in the Matrix. Dillon Gabriel is the glitch and Shedeur is the reset button. And in fairness, you can't totally blame him. The Browns' offense has looked like a group project where nobody showed up. The play calling is so predictable that even the hot dog vendors know what's coming next. Gabriel's passes either sail too far or too short, like he's allergic to hitting the middle. The wide receivers, they've started meditating mid-game, just to cope. The offensive line, they're auditioning for the role of revolving door in a hardware commercial. Every time Gabriel drops back, the pocket collapses faster than a folding chair. Bruce sees all this and says what everyone's secretly thinking. Why not give Shedeur a shot? What's the worst that can happen? They lose differently? According to him, Shedeur has that primetime DNA, swagger, composure, and the ability to make chaos look like choreography. The kid talks like he was born for bright lights. Gabriel, meanwhile, talks like he's trying to convince himself he belongs in the same room. And that's the real kicker, confidence. Bruce Drennan, the self-appointed judge of Cleveland's quarterback psychology, has decided that Shedeur's swagger is exactly what the Browns need. Forget stats, forget experience. He's betting it all on vibes.
Finally, Tony Grossi has come to his senses about Dillon Gabriel. After his observation of Dillon Gabriel in these 4 games that Dillon Gabriel has been on an NFL field, he's finally came to the conclusion that Dillon Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. Now, in the past, Tony Grossi was vouching for Dillon Gabriel, talking about he was much better than Shedeur Sanders. That's why Cleveland has him as the starting quarterback ever since Joe Flacco has been traded and Shedeur.
Bruce even starts using phrases like it factor and command presence. You can almost hear the producers off camera slowly losing hope. Every time he says Shedeur, their ratings go up. And every time he says Gabriel, the studio lights flicker in embarrassment. He's practically rewriting the Browns' playbook live on air. His master plan? Bench Gabriel. Hand the keys to Shedeur and let the fireworks begin. According to Bruce, this move would shock the system. You know, because nothing says stable football strategy like throwing a rookie into the NFL equivalent of a blender. But that's Cleveland. Stability's a myth. Logic left the building years ago. This is the franchise that drafted a quarterback in the first round and still found a way to start 5 others in the same season. And Bruce, he's just feeding the madness with gasoline in a microphone. Some fans are eating it up. Comment sections blowing up, Reddit threads turning into therapy sessions. Others, they're shaking their heads, muttering, "Here we go again." But nobody's turning it off. Because when Bruce Drennan goes off, it's not sports commentary. It's performance art. He starts breaking down Gabriel's stats like he's reading bad poetry. Completion percentages that sound like gas prices. Yardage totals that could be mistaken for phone numbers. The man's basically reciting Cleveland's pain in metric form. Then without warning, he pivots to Shedeur highlights. College clips, flashy throws, sideline celebrations. He's treating YouTube footage like gospel evidence. To Bruce, every spin move and deep bomb is proof that the prophecy is real.
If he doesn't get promoted from QB3 to QB2, what happens?
What I think happens is that you put even more pressure on Dillon Gabriel in his second start than he had in his NFL debut.
If he's not promoted?
If Shedeur Sanders is not promoted to QB2.
Why is that?
Because then all of a sudden, you start to ask all of these questions as to why. There are only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster right now.
He even pulls the classic Drennan move, the dramatic pause. You know the one. He leans forward, eyes locked on the camera, and drops a line so heavy you can practically hear the soundboard short circuit. Something like, "This city deserves better." Translation, Dillon Gabriel, pack your playbook. And yet, buried beneath all that rage and sarcasm, Bruce has a point. Cleveland does deserve better. They've been loyal through decades of mediocrity, heartbreak, and blown leads. They've earned the right to demand something more exciting than checkdowns and 3-and-outs. That's why Shedeur Sanders represents more than just a quarterback change. He represents hope. Irrational hope, maybe. But in Cleveland, irrational hope is the house specialty. Bruce wraps up his meltdown with that classic Drennan blend of fury and optimism. He paints a picture of Shedeur leading the Browns like a gridiron prophet, reviving the fan base 1 touchdown at a time. Gabriel, he's the ghost of quarterbacks past, forgettable, replaceable, and already halfway out of the conversation. The beauty of it is that Bruce's rant might actually push something. Cleveland fans are emotional creatures. You give them a spark, and they'll turn it into a bonfire. By the next morning, the city is already buzzing. Sports radio callers begging for Shedeur. Meme pages dubbing him Sanders the Savior. Meanwhile,
it feels like if you're the Browns right now, you need to get a look at everything you possibly can, because you're going to be going into a draft where you might have to make another quarterback decision. And I wouldn't want to go into that draft saying, well, I never even got a look at Shedeur. Well, then why'd you even draft him, right? And that's a very, very frustrating conversation for me as somebody that evaluates all these players every year, right? Try to get to well over 300. And I feel like especially getting to talk to, about 45 of them one-on-one at the Combine each year, I generally have a good idea of what guys can and can't do, what the development plan should be.
Meanwhile, Gabriel's scrolling through Twitter like it's a minefield. Every post's a fresh reminder that Cleveland's patience is shorter than its playoff runs. The coaching staff pretends not to hear the noise, but come on. They hear it. Everyone hears it. You can't walk through Cleveland without someone yelling, "Start Shedeur," out of a passing car. And that's the crazy part. Bruce Drennan might have just shifted the whole narrative. One rant, one explosion, and suddenly, Shedeur Sanders isn't just a bench warmer. He's a movement. By midweek, you can already feel the tension building. Reporters asking loaded questions. Gabriel giving those tight-lipped answers that sound like he's reading from a hostage script. The locker room's split. Half the guys trying to stay professional. The other half secretly wondering what would happen if Sanders got the nod. The next game rolls around. The fans are restless. Gabriel jogs onto the field to polite claps that feel more like, "We're being nice." Every incomplete pass earns a chorus of sighs. Every stalled drive? Sarcastic, "Maybe next time." And somewhere in the stands, someone holds up a sign that says, "Let Shedeur cook." Gabriel finishes the first half with numbers that would make a Pop Warner coach cry. The Browns are trailing again. The defense is exhausted. And the camera cuts to Shedeur on the sideline, calm, confident, chewing gum like he already knows the script. And back.
You have to squeeze more out of a 3rd and a 5th round pick, though. You can't have it be the competition was Dillon versus Shedeur, and then next year we're just going to act like both of these quarterbacks don't exist.
Well, no, they'll still be here because I think that's crucial. If they did,
you have to get something out of them.
What do you mean?
Even from a backup quarterback standpoint.
Well, isn't that I think the plan with Dillon?
I'm agreeing with you is the point.
Because I think Shedeur's the one you're not going to get something out of. I think he's the guy that if he's not the starter next year, could just be gone.
If that's what it ends up being, that's what it ends up being. But the point is that you have to find the value in there somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th round pick. You can't just say we took these guys and then just.
And back in his studio, Bruce Drennan's pacing like a man who just got vindicated by destiny. He's yelling at the TV, you hear that? They know. The coach hesitates, but eventually the decision comes down. Gabriel's benched. Shedeur grabs his helmet, steps onto the field, and suddenly Cleveland believes again. Even if it's temporary, even if it's just adrenaline and wishful thinking. The crowd's alive. The team's alive. For the first time all season, it feels like something's happening. Bruce's rant didn't just predict it, it caused it. And when Shedeur takes that first snap, you can practically hear Drennan somewhere screaming, "I told you so." Loud enough to register on the Richter scale. That's the Cleveland way. Chaos, heartbreak, brief hope, repeat. And every now and then a voice like Bruce Drennan's breaks through the noise. Not because he's right, but because he feels right. He gives fans a target for their frustration, a rallying cry for their faith, and a reason to keep watching a franchise that's allergic to consistency. And maybe, just maybe, he's onto something. Because whether Shedeur becomes the hero or just the next name on the jersey graveyard, one thing's clear. Cleveland's ready for change. And if change comes wrapped in sunglasses, swagger, and a cannon arm, Bruce Drennan's going to be there, screaming about it until his mic gives out. So yeah.
And maybe Shedeur is better than Dillon Gabriel. We'll find out at some point.
Maybe.
I'm guessing.
Not maybe, Dustin. Little League, high school.
Say whatever you want.
Early college, middle college, late college. Right here, October 27th of 2025. Shedeur Sanders is better than Dillon Gabriel.
I'm taking Shedeur at number 2. I'm going to do the obvious right thing there. I'm going to take Shedeur and I'm going to roll with it and see how it goes. But then I'm trading back into the end of the first round with my 2nd round pick.
So yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe Dillon Gabriel's learning curve has turned into a flat line. Maybe Shedeur's moment is here. Or maybe Cleveland's just doing what it always does, building a statue before the first win. Either way, Bruce Drennan got what he wanted, the city's attention. And in Cleveland football, that's half the battle. Because when the Browns' offense looks like a bad punchline, sometimes all it takes is one loud guy with a microphone to convince everyone that hope wears number 2. And whether Shedeur delivers on that or not, well, that's next week's meltdown waiting to happen. When next week does happen, you can already see how it'll go down. Bruce will be back in the studio, hair slightly more chaotic, papers flying everywhere like confetti, yelling that he was right, even if Shedeur threw 3 picks and a fumble. Because logic doesn't matter anymore. In Cleveland, perception is the only stat that counts. If Shedeur wins, Bruce becomes a prophet. If he loses, Bruce becomes a martyr. Either way, the man's getting his victory lap. And deep down, that's the beauty of Cleveland football. It's never just about the game. It's about the drama, the delusion, the endless optimism that somehow survives every Sunday disaster. So whether Shedeur Sanders ends up rewriting history, or just adding another chapter to Cleveland's quarterback encyclopedia of heartbreak, Bruce Drennan's rant will live forever. Not as analysis, but as entertainment. Because only in Cleveland can a meltdown sound like motivation, and a benching feel like a rebirth.